Hello and welcome to this video entitled Drum Beats for Beginners, a step-by-step guide. The beat I just played in the beginning is the beat we're going to learn in this video tutorial, and it uses this instrument here. It's called the drum kit. The drum kit's a collection of instruments from around the world. As you can see, there's these instruments here. They're called cymbals. They make a metallic sound. Let me just demonstrate. There's also the tom-toms. Now on some kits there are many more toms, but on the kit I have here today I have two. The big drum that's at the shop here is a bass drum. It's operated with a pedal, so when I move my foot or my leg, you hear the bass drum. And the drum between my knees is the snare drum. Okay, let's get started. So I've taken away some of the drums that were here a moment ago, and I'm left now with just three drums. So those were the three drums I used in the beat at the beginning. Those drums are the bass drum, the hi-hat cymbal, and the snare drum. So the idea is that we use just these three sounds to play that drum beat. It's quite a famous drum beat. I'm sure you've heard it on records and recordings yourself. I tend to do it like this. I give a name to each sound and then I respond to that name by playing it. So I'll give you a little demo of that to start with. Bass, cymbal, snare, cymbal. And it's just a 4-note rhyme at this point. One thing I probably should mention before I go any further is the grip. So I'm not going to teach you anything too technical about grip, but make sure all your digits are around the stick or whatever you're holding. Really helps to kind of make a good sound. Let's do that again. Bass, cymbal, snare, cymbal. I'm right-handed, so I cross my hands over to do this. If you're left-handed or you want to try it this way, you're welcome to try it this way. Let's do it that way. Bass, cymbal, snare, cymbal. Let's do some repetitive playing of the sounds there. So I'm going to do lots of bass drums. Bass, 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 bass. You try that. Sounds good? Okay. Let's try it with the hi-hat or the cymbal. Sorry, I should be consistent with my names. The cymbal. Cymbal, 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 cymbal. You have a go. Yeah, great. Finally, the snare drum. Let's do some multiple hits with the snare drum. Snare, 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 snare. Okay, let's try them all together. Can you do them as a triple sound? It's quite easy. Have a go. Triple sounds. So we've got all the sounds moving there. Let's build it up a little bit more. Going back to the first pattern where I say the word and we do it in the order. So the order of the sounds is bass, cymbal, snare, cymbal. Here we go. Bass, cymbal, snare, cymbal, bass, cymbal, snare, cymbal. Join in. Bass, cymbal, snare, cymbal, bass, cymbal, snare, cymbal. Okay, now on to the next bit. So hang around, don't go away. So if you don't have access to a drum kit at the moment, but you want to try some of these things, you can always use things at home as substitute sort of sounds or instruments. So today here I've got a chair. The chair is going to be my snare drum and my cymbal, but to make a different sound, I've got something in the kitchen here. It's a tin. It's going to be my snare drum. That's my cymbal, and my foot's going to be the bass drum stabbing on the floor. If you've got a delicate chair or an upholstered chair, maybe put some fabric over the top of it just to protect the chair. But of course, like this goes without saying, you need to sort of get permission to do this at home, or family permission. So one thing worth mentioning before we carry on any further is what you do with the left foot and the hi-hat. So obviously, as you can see, there's a slight gap there between the two hi-hat cymbals. The hi-hat is actually two cymbals pressed together. And it's very important that the left foot holds those down to create the sound that we've been getting. If you find that tricky, you can always adjust the top, the hi-hat, and press it down. It's a bit of a cheat, but it's fine to start with. and that will control the sound. Also, you might have a digital drum kit, so many of these things are the same for the digital kits. The pedal movements are the same, but probably with the digital kit, you won't be able to do this and adjust it physically. So just try your best to hold the hi-hat down with the foot to change the sound, get that sound. But it is quite tricky on a digital kit in my experience. So just a few things to bear in mind. So let's give this a try with the substitute drum kit. I've got my spoons ready, I've got my foot ready. Here we go. Bass, cymbal, snare, cymbal, bass, cymbal, snare, cymbal, bass, cymbal, snare, cymbal. You get the idea. Also, something that's worth practicing is hitting things together, because we're going to need to use some coordination when we finally get to build the beat up. So let's practice playing with our hands. And that's your upper limbs. So it's right and left hand hitting together. The other double sound is your right hand and your right foot. So you'll be hitting the cymbal and the bass drum at the same time. So let's practice a bit of that before you go any further. Okay, let's do the next bit. So you'll notice I've got a different camera angle. Hopefully this will help. Let's carry on with mixing some of those sounds together in different ways then. So let's do some of the double sounds. So these are the things where you hit more than one sound at the same time. So you've got, first of all, the bass drum and the hi-hat will be played together. Hopefully you can see that in the video. Let's practice some of those. This is my favourite sound on the drum kit. It's a combination of, like I said, the bass drum and the hi-hat. Here's my favourite sound. Well, it's actually a double sound. So I'm going to do that again. My favourite double sound. That's my right stick hitting the hi-hat or hitting the cymbal, and my right foot hitting the bass drum. So it's my right limbs hitting together. My favourite sound. That's two sounds together. You can do the same with the hands. So both hands hit at the same time, and that would be you'd be hitting the cymbal here and the snare drum at the same time. Let's just try some of those. My favourite sound, bass drum and hi-hat. My hands together, snare drum and hi-hat. Bass drum and hi-hat, my favourite sound. Hands together, snare drum and hi-hat. Let's do that without me talking, so just watch the screen and follow. So as you can see, I'm now over here on the pots and pans, as it were, doing the same thing I just did in the other drum kit. So it's my favourite sound, it's both hands. Favourite sound, both hands. Favourite sound, both hands. Just keep it steady. Favourite sound, sorry, favourite sound, both hands. Favourite sound, both hands. Right hand and right foot, both hands. Right hand and right foot, both hands. Right hand and right foot, both hands. There's no need to rush this. Just get your limbs moving in a nice, comfortable position. And then we can move on to the next bit, which is to add some notes in between these notes on the hi-hat. So the next thing to add to finish our beat off for today are some extra hi-hat notes. So you're just going to be hitting notes in between the sounds we've just recently done. It's quite straightforward. I'll talk you through it. So first of all, you have my favourite double sound, which is the bass drum and the hi-hat. Then you just hit the cymbal. Then you hit both hands. Then you hit the cymbal. Favourite one, double sound, cymbal, both hands, cymbal. My favourite double sound, cymbal, both hands, cymbal. Pardon me. Okay, let's do that with a beat and make it a little more steady. So I've got my metronome beating in front of me. Here we go. My favourite sound, cymbal, both hands, cymbal. 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 Okay, so this is the final bit of the video. We've worked on putting the sounds together, we've worked on some coordination. I'm going to start it at the speed we just played it at. I'm going to say the rhymes, do the sounds, but I'll eventually, as I speed up, I'll have to stop saying the prompts, but you just watch the video and play along. Here we go. Favourite double sound, cymbal, both hands, cymbal. Favourite, 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 cymbal, and cymbal. Favourite, cymbal, and cymbal. Favourite, cymbal, and cymbal. If you're feeling adventurous, you can take it a bit quicker. Let's finish off today with doing that on the chair drum kit. Ready? Here we go. It's my favourite double sound, cymbal, both hands, cymbal. Favourite, cymbal, both hands, cymbal. Favourite. Should have gradually speed it up. Hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope to hear your drumming sometime soon. Have a good weekend. Favourite, cymbal, both hands, cymbal. You keep it up. Let's take it a bit faster. Let's see if you can take it even faster still. It's just for a bit of fun there. Anyway, bye-bye.